Welcome to another episode of Baby Steps with Christ. I'm your host, Leigh Trupin. This is a place where we take one baby step at a time in developing a personal relationship with God, where we go at our own pace without the pressure of rules and religion, where we learn we have direct access to God and we can go straight to the source himself. Today, I want to share with you what I think is a truly inspiring story, and I hope you'll find it just as inspiring. Unfortunately, we recently had a death in the family. My mom's brother, my Uncle Jimmy, left us to go home with God. And today I want to dedicate this episode to him. This story is a fascinating one about how God can transform our lives in the most miraculous and unexpected ways. You've heard me say multiple times that when I needed deliverance from Satan, I ran to the church and their deliverance ministry for help, and they didn't help me. I was set free only when I learned to call out directly to God. But this story is a perfect example of how God works through deliverance ministries too. I never said that they don't help. I said they didn't help me. And for the first part of his life, my uncle was an alcoholic. He was a mean, nasty drunk. He did terrible things. He was a terrible husband and an absentee father. Not liked or respected by many. And long story short, one day he was standing in the back of a deliverance ministry, not for himself, but rather he stopped in because he was picking someone up. And as he stood there waiting for this person, a random woman he didn't know felt compelled to walk up to him, put her hands on him, told him she knew he was going through something extremely terrible and it will end now. Well, my uncle's plan that day was to pick this person up, drop them off at home, and head to the nearest bar. But as he was heading to that bar, he suddenly had a feeling he'd never felt before. He didn't want to drink. And from that moment on, he never drank again. That day didn't just begin his sobriety. It began his journey with God. He became very active in his faith and did a lot of volunteer work. He had a passion for it. And over the years, he eventually restored broken relationships. My cousin, who he wasn't there for growing up when she needed him the most, became the very person who stood by his bedside every day that led to his death. This story shows how God can turn your life around no matter how far gone you think you are, no matter what you have done. My uncle became a man that made people laugh, that helped others, that was loved by many. My cousin was eventually able to look past the person he used to be and built a relationship with the person he became. She was his rock when he needed her the most. This is a classic story of forgiveness and redemption. This is what God can do for you, no matter what your past looks like. And let me share the beautiful eulogy that my cousin wrote for her father. And this comes from the very person that spent the first part of her life hating him. She writes, "Today we gathered to celebrate my dad, Jim, a man who is dapper, truthful, faithful, and genuinely one of a kind. A loving father and husband, a loyal friend, a devout Catholic, a volunteer, a man of deep conviction and even deeper heart. He was a man with a truly great sense of humor. There are many times, many stories that make me smile. But one in particular is when we were at a family gathering. My mom wrote her name on a cup so it wouldn't get mixed up with anyone else's. But when Mom stepped away from the table, Dad quietly picked up his own cup and wrote his name on it too. One by one, the rest of us followed in his lead, until suddenly every cup on the table had Mom's name written on it. When she came back and saw the sea of cups claiming to belong to her, she couldn't help but laugh. We all did. That was Dad. Playful, observant, loving. He didn't need to be loud to be funny, just perfectly timed. A simple joke, a shared glance, a moment that brought everyone together. He knew what it meant to forgive. And even more importantly, he knew how to help others forgive themselves. He brought calm to people around him. You felt steadier just by standing next to him. And then there was his love story with Sharon. Their love was more than love. It was acceptance without judgment. Two people who had met later in life. Two people who overcame life's challenges when the odds were stacked against them. They understood each other. They had a kind of commitment that was rare and a love that was sacred. Dad was a devout Catholic and a Marian helper. Each year, he anticipated Divine Mercy Sunday at the National Shrine of the Divine Mercy. It wasn't just an event on the calendar for him. It was something that nourished his soul. He would spend the weekend directing buses as pilgrims arrived or quietly helping manage the long lines for confession. He was happiest serving behind the scenes, making sure others could encounter grace without distraction. The hours he gave there and the friendships he formed became a meaningful and lasting part of his life. He never sought recognition. It was enough for him simply to serve. His heart was at the shrine, where he could go pray and honor our Blessed Mother. A place where he felt closest to his wife Sharon, who passed in 2011. He traveled to Marian shrines throughout the country, volunteered faithfully at the local food pantry, and was active in the Beginning Experience Grief Support Organization. His faith was apparent to all who knew him by the way he lived. He was a problem solver, someone who met life's challenges with patience and steady determination. He had an unquenchable thirst for knowledge and was an avid reader, always learning, always growing. He was a traveler at heart, open to new places and new perspectives. Most of all, he cherished meaningful conversations, welcoming every opportunity to share his experiences and connect deeply with others. He showed up. He showed up for his faith. He showed up for his family. He showed up for his community. And he showed up as himself, genuine and true. Dad lived intentionally. He believed deeply that the sacraments were not just rituals, but anchors. Steadying graces meant to guide and sustain us. He felt that the closer we remain to them, the more grounded and strengthened we are. And that when we drift away, life can begin to feel heavier. His faith wasn't casual. It was something he leaned on, trusted in, and quietly built his life around. When I say Dad was dapper, it was not just in how he dressed. He carried himself with dignity. He was faithful, not only to God, but to the people he loved He was truthful even when truth required humility. And he was genuine, the same man in every room. Dad's achievements weren't things you could hang on a wall or engrave on a plaque. They weren't titles or trophies. His greatest achievement was the courage to choose a different path. And in doing so, he changed the course of his life. This choice didn't just shape his future, it shaped ours. He showed us it's never too late to grow, to turn around, and to become the person God calls you to be. His life was proof that grace, redemption, and transformation are always possible. And today our hearts ache. But as Dad would tell us, we have to feel our grief. It is a part of life, and feeling it is the only way through it. When you're missing Dad, just close your eyes and picture his smile. And if you listen closely, you just might hear his familiar hey, hey, or 100 million thank yous. Dad, thank you for the laughter. Thank you for the steadiness. Thank you for your faith. We love you, and we carry you with us, always. I love this for both of them. My cousin was able to gain a dad, and my uncle was able to gain the love of the daughter he wasn't initially there for. This story will always be one of my favorites to tell. And for that reason, my favorite part of the eulogy is this. Dad's achievements weren't things you could hang on a wall or engrave on a plaque. They weren't titles or trophies. The greatest achievement was the courage to choose a different path, and in doing so, he changed the course of his life. That choice didn't just shape his future, it shaped ours. It showed us it's never too late to grow, to turn around, and to become the person God calls you to be. His life was proof that grace, redemption, and transformation are always possible. This is how Uncle Jimmy was laid to rest. This is how he was remembered. Overcoming his alcoholism is how he's remembered. He isn't remembered for being an alcoholic. This is not a story just for a select few. This is for you too. So if you're going through something you think is unforgivable, I hope this story inspires you to reach out to God and build the kind of relationship with him that will help transform you and restore the broken relationships in your life. I hope this story was inspirational to you, just as inspirational to you as it is to me. And I hope you'll share it with everyone you feel needs to hear it. Thank you for listening today. Until next time.